Hey friends, and welcome back to the Clear channel with me, Anna Long-Stokes. Okay, so tell me if this sounds familiar. You get that little nudge, maybe a gut feeling or a flash of knowing. It could be a quick image in your mind. And then almost instantly you think, nah, I'm probably making that up. You are not alone. Most intuitives are getting intuitive hits all the time. They just don't trust them. And today I wanted to talk with you about why. Why do we do that? And how to tell when it's really intuition versus just maybe your emotions talking, as well as some of the subtle signs you might already be receiving more than you realize, and how your intuitive archetype plays into the kind of doubt that you experience surrounding your intuitive hits. Okay, so why do we ignore intuition? Here's the thing. Intuition rarely shouts. It's often quiet, subtle, and we live in a world that rewards things that are loud, logical, and provable. So of course, it's easy to second guess the quiet stuff. I remember a time I was driving to meet a friend, and this little whisper in my mind said, take a different route. It wasn't dramatic, there was no thunderbolt moment, so I ignored it. Well, 20 minutes later, I was stuck in a traffic jam because of a huge accident on my usual road. And a bigger thing, if you happen to be a leader or an entrepreneur, I was once running a company. I had the manager who was in charge do some hiring for me, and I met one of my new employees, and I remember this very quiet voice that came into my head that said, she will tear down your company. Fast forward a couple years later, things did not end well with that employee, and she took a lot of my staff with her when she left. So that was my intuition. Wasn't loud, it was kind of quiet, and I was like, that was just a silly thought I had. Let's go ahead and ignore it. Wish I could go back and change it, but I can't now. So what I've done instead is work on trying to listen more wholly and fully to my intuition and heed its warnings when they send them my way. And that is the thing, is that intuition usually isn't dramatic, which is why we tend to ignore it, unfortunately. So how can intuition arise? Intuition can arise as like a passing thought, a physical sensation in your body. It could be a quick image that disappears almost as fast as it came. We often miss it because we expect it to feel like this grand movie-worthy psychic moment, or we're scanning for the evidence before we allow ourselves to trust it. But intuition's job isn't to convince you, it's to guide you. So one of the biggest trust blockers that I see is mixing up intuition with emotional reactivity. And so I wanted to talk about the difference here. So intuition often feels calm, clear, and pretty neutral. It doesn't argue with you. It's that quiet, just kind of know feeling. Emotional reactivity, on the other hand, often feels urgent, fast, loud, and is often charged with fear or desire. So here's a little example. Let's say you are offered a new project. Intuition might calmly say, this is not aligned. Or you feel an ease about saying, no, I don't think this is going to work. Emotional reactivity might scream, say yes, or you'll miss your chance. You need the money. And it might feel like, it might just feel graspy, sticky, or strange in the body. So if you're clairvoyant, meaning you receive intuitive information in images or visual flashes, you might be getting hits like quick inner pictures that pop in your mind randomly, or symbolic images or colors that mean something to you. You may see patterns in your environment that reflect your inner thoughts, or dreams that feel unusually sticky when you wake up. The reality is I am a mental health therapist, but I am also a clairvoyant. And one of the main ways I navigate relationships with my therapy clients is actually I'm often receiving visuals that will be helpful in getting them unstuck. And so oftentimes it'll just be a little flash in my mind where it will be the analogy or the metaphor. The picture will be the basis of that. And they'll say, oh my gosh, I was just baking this week. I was just this, like whatever the metaphor is. I'll sometimes see like a movie in my mind, and then I'll bring up an example from the movie, and they'll be like, did you know that movie was the most influential movie of my upbringing? And I'll be like, I had no idea, but I did see a picture. So that's what it can be like when you're clairvoyant and your intuition is sending you information to help you navigate a situation with somebody else. Most people dismiss these because they don't make sense in the moment, but often they are spot on because that's your intuition. Your intuition's really accurate. So this is where your intuitive archetype can come into play here. Okay, so if you haven't yet, feel free to take a moment, go to the link below and take the free intuitive archetype quiz. There are 5 different archetypes. So depending on your intuitive archetype, it changes how you perceive intuitive information, how you receive it, perceive it, and often engage and interact with it. So there's 5 different intuitive archetypes. So I wanted to talk about how these different archetypes may show up when they doubt their intuition. So mystics, they might doubt themselves because the messages don't feel dramatic enough. Whereas a healer may think, that's not intuition, that's just compassion. An activator tends to move so quickly that they honestly just don't pause to confirm the intuitive hit. Emotional archetypes sometimes confuse intuitive feelings with past fears and wounds. Whereas the grounded archetype may kind of overanalyze and talk themselves out of that first impression. Knowing your style and your archetype helps you spot the exact way that your intuition might be communicating and how you might be accidentally ignoring it. So one thing to remember is that your intuition is definitely not broken, although it might be a little shut down after years of you ignoring it. You could be blocked, but you can also unblock yourself really quickly. If you are watching this video, you have a desire likely to continue to strengthen that natural intuitive muscle that you have. One of my biggest recommendations is to find some energy moving meditations, movements, processes that work with you so that you can clear out your channel, that intuitive channel, so that when you receive that guidance that you're definitely receiving, you won't have to question so much, is this mine or is this somebody else's? All right, everyone, that is all for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.